Hi, this is Vic Coleman, and welcome to another edition of Walking Together Through Cancer, where our goal is to not only educate but to encourage those who've been diagnosed with cancer. Today's video will be a two-part series on how to pay for cancer-related expenses. The first part will focus mainly on insurance, and then the second part will cover alternative sources that will help you handle expenses that are associated with your medical treatment. So first, would like for you to click the like button and then also click the subscribe button so that you'll be notified whenever we come out with a new video. Second, just want to tell you about a couple of resources that are available, both on Amazon. Cáncer, Christian in Crisis is a book I wrote that kind of tells the story of my experiences with cancer, starting with my wife's diagnosis with breast cancer, and then all the way through my 3 diagnoses. And then also we have Walking Together Through Cancer Daily Journal. And journaling was one of the things that I found that really helped me through the whole process, where I could gather my thoughts and feelings and write down prayers to the Lord, and then it ended up being a resource that I could use to help others. So those 2 are available on Amazon, and let's begin. So why talk about cancer-related expenses anyway? Well, cancer is basically another medical condition, and that can have a major impact on your finances. So it's always best to be proactive in being prepared for these expenses. And even with insurance, being prepared is essential. So being diagnosed with cancer is stressful enough, and going through the treatments and all of that, we want to help you reduce the stressors in your life, especially during this time. Now, where do these expenses come from? I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's a whole variety of scans that you're going to be dealing with, such as MRIs, PET scans, CAT scans, X-rays, you know, before, during, and after your treatment. There'll be various procedures, hospital stays, co-pays for lab work, office visits, medications, treatment costs, home care, transportation, time off work, and the key thing is that all of these expenses are on top of your normal day-to-day expenses. So as you can see, it can have a major impact on your finances. So what to do before you're diagnosed? Just get yourself in good financial condition. If you haven't developed a budget, develop one and start to live by it. Pay off debt, reduce discretionary expenses, and these are things like if you're eating out 5 times a week, that can get pretty expensive. Just cut it back down to once a week or twice a week, and then that will allow you to build up your savings. And then review your employer's medical benefits. That's really important, so you'll know exactly what they have to offer, what the restrictions are, and you'll be familiar with it in case you are diagnosed with cancer or any other medical condition. And then develop a family support network. Now, I'm not talking about people who you can, ask for money if you need it. I'm talking about people who will be there to, maybe take you to and from your treatments, your chemo treatments. Someone who can help you while you're recovering from surgery. Maybe they can watch your kids for you or help cook a meal, and then basically really just someone who you can call and just talk to when you're feeling kind of down, and someone who could encourage you, someone who can pray for you. I mean, that's the type of support network that you're going to need, that's going to be vital for you as you walk through this process. Also, research primary, secondary, supplemental insurance plans, and we'll go into definition of those. Research the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare options if you don't have insurance through your employer, or you find out that it's inadequate. And then if you're unemployed or become unemployed during this time, then check out COBRA. There are a slew of terms and key concepts that we're going to cover in this video, so we're going to go right through them. So copays is a flat fee that you pay for doctor visits and prescriptions. Generally, it's about $20 to $30. If you see a specialist like an oncologist or endocrinologist, then it's going to be roughly double that, about $60. And then what you pay for prescriptions will vary based on the prescription. I have one medication I take where a 3-month supply costs me roughly about $30. But I have another one where a 3-month supply costs me about $120. So your copay, which comes right out of your pocket, will vary depending on the medication when you're dealing with prescriptions. Deductible. That's the amount you pay for healthcare costs before insurance company begins to pay, quote, eligible expenses. And we're going to go into that on the next slide. So, for example, if your deductible is $1,000, you have a series of scans associated with a diagnosis, then you'll have to pay $1,000 out of your pocket before the insurance company will pay anything. Then afterwards, they will share the cost of treatments with you. And depending on your insurance coverage, this could be like a 30-70% or 20-80%. Somewhere in that range, where you'll pay 20% of the cost, your insurance company will pay 80% of the cost. Eligible expenses. These are healthcare expenses for which your insurance company will pay. Now, they'll pay for most of your expenses because they'll probably fall in the realm of normal or expenses or expenses associated with normal treatments, but not necessarily all. And you need to check the website of your insurance company to find out what these eligible expenses are, because it can vary over time. It can vary from state to state. It can vary from employer to employer, and also insurance company to insurance company. So you need to look at that and just find out what those eligible expenses are and at least be familiar with it. Now, if you have a procedure that is out of the norm, check with your insurance company before the procedure is performed, because you may find out that it's not covered, and you may still go ahead and make the decision with your doctor to go ahead and have that treatment, but you want to know ahead of time how much it's going to cost, and then what you're going to have to pay or find alternatives to help pay for that cost afterwards. Then I found this interesting or necessary is to really document conversations with the insurance company. Time, date, subject, the person, name of the person you talked to, and notes about and notes about what was discussed. There's been, I don't know how many times where my wife and I, we would kind of joke about customer service and how it's changed over the past 20, 30 years. It used to be back in the day, we used to call a customer service, not necessarily dealing with medical expenses, but just any customer service department. Someone would give you some information, and then you just run with it and act accordingly. But today, things have just gotten so inconsistent to where my wife and I joke, is like, okay, we have one question. Let's call 3 times and see if we can get 2 answers to agree, and then that will probably be the best answer. Take the best 2 out of 3. And even with that, quote, best answer, we got a 50% chance of it being right. So that's kind of a joke, but really it kind of makes the point and really brings home the point of really you need to document your conversations with the insurance companies. Out-of-pocket maximum. The most you'll pay out of pocket before the insurance company will pay for 100% of the cost. So if your out-of-pocket maximum is $2,500, the insurance company will pay 100% of eligible expenses after you've paid that $2,500. So you may have a deductible that you meet, And then after that, there will be, quote, co-insurance, where the insurance company will split the cost with you, but you'll still be splitting the cost until you reach that out-of-pocket maximum. And then after that, the insurance company will pay 100% of the cost. Primary insurance company. Typically, this is with your employer, and this is the one through whom you're paying premiums to. If you are covered on your spouse's insurance, then they will be, and not covered on your own, then they will be your primary insurance company. And here's the key point. Find out if your insurance company needs to pre-approve or pre-certify any treatment before it is started. You may have to undergo a certain treatment, and it may be an eligible expense that the insurance company will cover, but they may need to pre-certify or pre-approve that procedure. And if they don't, then you may be left with the cost of that treatment. And it goes back to one of my other points earlier, was that you need to be familiar with what your insurance company covers, as well as what they need to pre-certify or pre-approve. And this could be treatments, hospital stays, rehab, home care, certain prescriptions. Co-insurance, the amount you pay for eligible expenses after you've paid the deductible. So, for example, if you've met your deductible of $1,000, you may now have a scan that costs $500. You'll pay $100, and the insurance company will pay $400, assuming that you have a 20-80% split. Secondary insurance company usually pays what is left over after your primary insurance company has paid their part, and this could help with co-pays, deductibles, and co-insurance. And an example of this will be like your employer's insurance company is the primary insurance, is your primary insurance company, and you may have a copay or a deductible that has to be met, that you have to pay. Well, your spouse's insurance is the secondary insurance, and they can help pick up the tab on some of these expenses. Supplemental insurance. It's a separate plan that offers additional benefits like cancer benefit, critical illness, ER, accident. And I guess one of the most well-known supplemental benefit plans is Aflac, but there are others out there. And I'll just tell you a short story about when my wife was diagnosed with cancer. About 5 months prior, our employer, we actually worked for the same company, offered us Aflac, and there was a cancer benefit in there. And she and I kind of looked at it, and we thought, we're in our early 40s, just turned 40, so the idea of cancer was just really kind of far from us. And we thought, probably not. Then it wasn't all that expensive, but we just thought, we just didn't want to pay for the additional insurance. Well, 5 months later, my wife was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, and the rest was history. So kind of regretted not getting it, because it would have really helped out with the expenses that we incurred afterwards. So it's just something to consider. In-network, out-of-network. Now, when a doctor or hospital or healthcare provider accepts your insurance plan, they're considered in-network. If they're not, they're considered out of network. And really the key issue here is just the cost. And so we'll go through an example. You have a biopsy done at a hospital. The doctor's full charge, say, is $1,000. If the doctor is in network, then he or she has already had an agreement with the insurance company of a charge, let's say for $750. So the insurance company will pay the doctor $750, and you won't pay anything, assuming you met your deductible. But if the doctor is out of network, the charge is $1,000. Your insurance company may pay the $750, but you're going to be left with a bill for $250. So it's important to know which providers are in network or out of network. Disability insurance. Basically, this replaces a portion of your income when you can't work. It's part of your insurance plan from your employer, and you signed up for it. You sign up for it every November. That's usually the time when you can make changes or make additions to your insurance plan. And also, Social Security Administration has a disability insurance portion. So the short-term disability is paid first, and then there's long-term disability after the short-term disability pays out. So to review, there are expenses associated with your cancer diagnosis, just like any medical treatment. It's best to get in good financial shape. Review your current insurance plans. Consider additional benefits to your existing one or additional insurance plans, especially before you're diagnosed, so that there won't be any problems with a pre-existing condition. Start a dialogue with your insurance company and start your documentation with your discussions with them. And then again, November is the month where you can renew, modify your coverage for the upcoming year, which starts January 1st. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and if so, again, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and then be ready for part 2, where we will cover alternative sources, resources that are available to you to help pay for cancer-related expenses. So thank you for watching, and as always, stay encouraged.